All right, she touched on the one issue that is getting a lot of media attention, and Donald Trump, things he said 11 years ago. Women are just coming out this past week with renewed allegations, whether that's fair. Finally, Melania Trump trying to set the record straight, and she has a theory on this she raised on Fox and Friends, what's really going on. Melania Trump.
Many times I gave him an advice, and I didn't agree to do all the tapes on Howard Stern with Billy Bush, because I know those people, they hook him on. They try to get from him some inappropriate and dirty language.
All right, so Melania Trump saying it was her husband egged on by the likes of Billy Bush and Howard Stern. AJ Delgado here, Trump campaign senior advisor. AJ, good to see you.
Good to see you, Neil.
What did you think of that?
She's absolutely right. Look, especially when you go on Howard Stern, they're looking for sound bites. These are entertainers. Same thing with Billy Bush. Even if the tape wasn't running, this is, at the end of the day, a reporter who wants to get something or hear a particular salacious remark come out of Donald Trump.
I don't know. I heard that. I heard that Billy Bush. I mean, he was doing fine, egging himself on.
It's the environment he's in, right? You're talking to an entertainment reporter, so I think you go out of your way to be entertaining, to use hyperbole, to kind of show off a little. So the environment, who you're talking to, lends itself.
How many men do you know who do that?
I've seen people do it. I've seen well-regarded, famous individuals kind of talk a certain way when they're around entertainment industry.
Like, I'll do that to get first on the buffet line, but but in other words, you
well, you don't get in trouble, Neil. That's good. Good for you.
But let me ask you about this. Was Melania Trump's effort to try to deheat this whole crisis? Did it work? It
did. It's over now, and it should be over. Listen, the one person that has the most right to be offended here is Melania, right? And she has spoken and has said what he did was wrong. He apologized.
So this
We're
was
moving
her
on.
Stand by her man moment.
And she should. I mean, this is something that he was just talking to another guy, showing off,
but
being
all the
silly.
other allegations, she said, is that this has to be settled in the court of all these women who came forward last week. I mean,
well, none of these allegations are credible, Neil. Even I've looked at it as a woman. Listen, I wouldn't be standing by Mr. Trump either.
Now, a lot of them said that they were doing it. I think I did that. The argument was because they heard him say in the last debate that he never acted on this talk.
Right. Well, that's also what makes it kind of suspicious, and what makes me wonder if there is some sort of coordinated attack. Because notice exactly what he said he would do is what these women now, just a couple of weeks after he said those things, came out and said, oh, he did that to me, by the way. Strange, you never mentioned this up until a couple of weeks before the election.
Are you worried about other tapes, other things, other bombshells that could drop, and in that event, how he should handle it, you and the campaign handle it?
Well, of course, you're always worried because additional false allegations could always come up. I don't put anything past the Hillary Clinton campaign, not saying that these allegations are necessarily coming from them, but anybody could make anything up. And the scary part is we're living in an industry now, an immediate landscape where these people are believed. All you have to do is come forward and say that person sexually assaulted me and you're believed. I don't think it's in anyone's interest, male, female, in this country to want to support what's going on here. We should expect credible facts, a credible person, and look at these situations before we rush to believe them, as we have so horrifically this past week or two.
You know, he has come up again and again, as you know, and talk about a rigged system. A lot of people interpreted that to mean that he would not honor the outcome of this election if he lost. Is that true?
Well, that's something you'd have to ask him. I think if there's, it's just as Kellyanne said, he would honor it unless there's some sort of widespread evidence or indication that something went wrong. And look, the system is rigged, Neil. Look at the media. I remember we took a look at what ABC, CBS, and NBC covered recently.
No, that part you're right. That does seem like it's
they don't cover WikiLeaks at all.
But I just want to be clear. When he was talking about something rigged, was he talking about the media, which always seems to have it out for conservative candidates or Republican candidates, him, or that the voting might be rigged, that there might be case after case stated, because that's what you need to prove a rigged system. But if he loses by a lot, proving something rigged would be harder to do, wouldn't
it? Well, it is hard to prove, but the possibility is always there. Listen, this happened in the 1960 presidential election. That one was stolen. The 1987 mayor election in Miami, they had to toss out the results because of fraud. This happens routinely, unfortunately. It's not common, but it does happen.
1960 was stolen, or whether some dead people
there was voter fraud. No, that's a fact that there was voter fraud there.
But enough to turn the electoral vote around. It's
maybe
debatable.
not, but the
I guess one of the things is that you gave the impression, the campaign gave the impression, AJ, that he will not go down quietly if he loses, and that whatever happens after this rough election, that could send a bad signal. What do you think?
Well, listen, if the process plays out the way it's supposed to and there isn't indication that anything went wrong or was improper, then of course he would accept the results. But if there is indication that something went on, where the American public was cheated out of their vote, no, I wouldn't want him to accept that quietly.
What if he won and they said the election was rigged?
Well, if there was widespread evidence that something went wrong, I would expect them to challenge it as well. It goes both ways. They're welcome to do that.
Do you really believe that?
Oh, Democrat voter fraud?
That this is just setting people up for disappointment.
No, I still firmly believe that we're in for a victory on November 8th.
So you agree with him that his support is understated and that it will be like these surprises we had with Brexit and elsewhere? That
think of all these new voters that are registering. They're not captured by polling companies.
Okay. We'll watch very closely. AJ, thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Very, very much.